Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC St. Louis versus Nascimento. We're back with another breakdown, and this time it is of a fight night. Thank fuck it's not in the Apex. It's in St. Louis, in the Enterprise Center. Oh, it's so nice to have an Apex card. A real fight night, yeah. I don't call Apex cards fight nights anymore. Those are Apex cards. This is a real fight night, so it's nice to have a real fight night. And this is a pretty good card. Main event's a joke, but the rest of the card is pretty good. And the main, I was gonna say the main event's not even a bad fight. Yes, it is. It's a terrible fight. But, besides that, like I said, there's really no bad fights on this card. And that's it. It's a big card, 13 fights, and a lot of big names on it. It's a really solid card. The ordering of the card is fucking stupid. But that's a UFC for you. But, yeah, really not much to say. We had a real fight night this week, coming off 301, which was okay. And let's see how this card goes. Let's see how it follows up a very average pay-per-view. And yeah, let's see how the St. Louis crowd is like, how electric they're gonna be. I know they will be electric for at least 2 fights on this card. And yeah, should be a fun card. But before we can get to the card, we have to break it down. So enough of me rambling. The only thing left to say is, the only thing I have to say before I get into the breakdown is, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. And unless I'm forgetting to say something, which I don't think I am, let's break down some fights. 13 fights in total. Like I said, really no bad fights. And we start the night in the women's flyweight division with a pretty good fight. As we begin the night with JJ Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy. Pretty solid fight to start the night. Gonna answer some very intriguing questions about a up-and-coming prospect, and it has a veteran in it, so yeah, it should be a very intriguing fight to start the night. I doubt it's gonna be that bad of a fight. So let's start the breakdown with talking about JJ Aldrich, the first fighter. JJ in the UFC is 9-5, very long UFC career. Some of her best wins are Polyana Viana, I completely forgot that even happened. Courtney Casey, Vanessa Demopoulos, Julian Robertson, Montana De La Osa. And her only losses are Juliana Lima, Macy Baba, Sabina Mazo, Ern Blanchfield, and Ariane Lipski. So outside that Mazo fight, and whoever the fuck Juliana Lima is, I've heard the name, but clearly she's not that good. Aldrich is right up, not lost. She lost to Viacheslav. And yeah, she's right now lost anyone back, especially her last few wins or losses. I mean, like Macy, and even though getting finished by Macy Barber, like yeah. But her last 2 L's to Lipski and Blanchfield could be way worse. And she took a round off Blanchfield, the only person to do that till Manon, or yeah, I guess even on Andrade. So Aldrich is a weird fighter. She's not bad. She's far from a bad fighter. She's not exciting either. That's why she took her 9 wins to get a finish. But she's not exciting. She's just good at doing what she does. She can strike a little bit. She can go to the ground, which she's actually very good at. She's just a well-rounded, solid fighter. She's never gonna have a fight of the night. She's never gonna get a fucking crazy cool knockout. She's going to do her basic striking. She's going to get you down, and she's going to win. If she can't do that, it's going to be like the Barber fight, the Blanchard fight, the Lipski fight especially, where she just could not get it down, and Lipski beat her ass. We know we're getting with JJ, a solid fighter who can beat these bad fighters like Courtney Casey, like Na Liang, like Lauren Moeller, Polyana Viana, but she'll never beat a Macy Barber or an Ern Blanchard, someone who is good enough to be in the top 5. Hell, on Tough, she lost to Tatiana Suarez, of all people, who's going to be a champion by the end of the year. So like I said, we know what we're getting with JJ. It's nothing we have not seen before. She's never gonna come out with a new game plan or a crazy new fucking fighting style. She's gonna fight like JJ Aldrich. And it's never, if she wins, it's never gonna be that exciting. But like that, like outside the Na Liang fight where she did get a finish, where even though she did not look very good in that fight, she did get reversed on the ground a lot. But Na Liang is very good on the ground. That's the only thing she actually is good at. So, and then in her last fight against Montana, where she was somehow the underdog, I predicted this completely right. She looked good. She dominated Montana, which I know is not saying much. It is Montana De La Rosa, who sucks. But, you know, win's a win. And she beat Jillian Robertson 2 years ago. We know where Jillian is now. Vanessa Demopoulos, that win is aging pretty nicely. So she had some nice wins. So, yeah. We know we're getting with JJ. She's never going to be a champion. She's never going to be a top 10 fighter. She could sneak into the top 15. But even then, if she did somehow get there, maybe get there again, I don't know if she's been ranked before. We know she's going to get knocked out of rankings sooner than later. So, like I said, I'm rambling way too long about JJ Aldrich. She's a good fighter. She's not an exciting one, but she's good. So, do we know what we're getting? To talk about her opponent, who has weirdly changed her career and has become a good fighter, Veronica Macedo Hardy. Veronica in the UFC is 3-4. Her 3 wins are Pie on Fiona. It's funny they share that. Juliana Miller and Jamie Lynn Horth. Her 4 losses are Ashley Evans Smith, Andrea Lee, Jillian Robertson, and Bia Malecki. Veronica's career, I feel like you kind of got to talk about in 2 parts. You have this first part where she just looked like a Paige Van Zandt clone, because I think that's what we all thought she was, because at this point she was not a good fighter. How she won this goddamn poly. But she's just looking like she was just looking like she was only in the UFC because her looks, because that's why she was in the UFC, let's be honest. But for some reason she took 3 years off and came back. She's on a tear. She came back in last year, and she dominated Juliana Miller. Yes, is it the most impressive one in the world? Fuck no. But that's the best she ever looked up to that point. And in her last fight, she looked great against Jamie Lynn Horth, who was undefeated going into that fight. So now she's on a 2-fight winning streak, looking better than ever, and in what seems like a miracle. I don't even know how to really say. She really turned her career around. She went from looking like she's probably going to get cut and be just another Paige Van Zandt to now she's on a 2-fight winning streak, looking like a very good prospect. And she is young still. She's only, 28? She's very young still. So I think that's the most interesting part. Like, her career is one of the most interesting career turnarounds I've ever seen. Like, she took 3 years off and she comes back a completely different fighter. Her striking is good. She has sneaky weird power. Like, she dropped Juliana Miller. I think she hurt Horth a few times. Her power is weirdly good. Her ground game's good. Her cardio looks great. Her kicks are good. She's looked really solid since she's come back. And I know it's been against very below average competition. But she lost to Bia fucking Malecki and Ashley Evans Smith, so she was losing to that below average competition at one point. Now she's beating them pretty soundly. So this was this was a kind of a close fight, but yeah, Veronica did probably win this fight. And the only person you can really thank for this, and the main person, is one of Viacheslav, her coach, is Dan Hardy, who of course she is with. No shit. Dan Hardy has made her a good fighter, which is insane. Which I'm not shocked by. Dan Hardy is a fucking genius when it comes to MMA. Talking about it, breaking it down, he's a fucking genius. And we've seen him turn a completely joke fighter into a really intriguing prospect. And if she can win this week, I think she grows as a prospect even more. So I'm very intrigued. I think Veronica is one of the more interesting fighters to watch in the UFC right now, because it's how the fuck has she went from a can to could easily be 4-4 in the UFC after going 1-4. So I'm intrigued. I'm like, maybe she gets fucking exposed this week and she's just beating bad fighters. You don't, maybe. But if she doesn't, if she looks good again here against a very solid fighter in JJ Aldrich, that's a really interesting development in this story. So I'll be very intrigued in this fight. I'm very interested to see how Veronica does in a giant step up, because Aldrich is a giant step up from Jamie Lynn Horth. So let's see how Veronica looks. It's gonna be very intriguing, because as of right now, she looks like a very bright prospect in flyweight. And Dan Hardy's done a great job, man. For all respect to her and Dan for switching her career around. The betting odds for this fight have Veronica Hardy out minus 135 to plus 115. I think that's about how they're. She might be a little bigger favorite right now, but I don't think by much. Yeah, with all the like, I get they're both on 2-fight winning streaks, so I guess that's something to count in. But if I had to say who has more momentum, it's definitely Veronica. People are talking about Veronica more. I think JJ, is pretty much set in stone how her career is going to be what it has been. Veronica could still be an interesting fighter. And I think she has all the momentum right now. I think she beat the better fighters, or as good fighters. And I think she's younger by a couple years, a little less experienced, but with Dan Hardy in her corner, I think that doesn't really matter. She's riding the wave of momentum more than JJ is, and that could really play a big factor here. So, but if she gets too cocky, then that will definitely burn up in smoke. But I don't think that would happen with who are coaches. So, yeah, it's a very intriguing fight. And I agree with the betting odds. I'd have her around that 135, 140 range, which a year ago saying this is insane. But that's how quick MMA moves. And yeah, I'm going Veronica Hardy here. I think she should be able to keep it on the feet and be the better striker, because she is. Maybe even hurt JJ at times. And stuff to takedowns, maybe end up on top even, and win this fight. I think she's the better fighter. More well-rounded, because she can strike. She is smaller in the height and reach department, but that should not play a big factor, because she fought Jamie Lynn Horth, who was way bigger, who's a fucking bantamweight. So Veronica should be able to win this fight. She should be able to stuff the takedowns, keep it standing, and be the better striker. Way more power in her hands, the better kicks, cardio. JJ might have her in cardio, but even then, that's debatable. I think Hardy should just be able to be the better fighter here, and I think she will be. And I think she'll pick up her third win in a row. So my pick here will be Veronica Hardy. Let's see how she does. I'm very intrigued. I know Aldrich is kind of getting the cannon fodder treatment here, but she could get the upset here. You never know. But I'm going to go Veronica Hardy to continue the hype train and see how far she can really go. So I'm going Veronica Hardy by decision. Let's see how it goes. After that, we head to our second fight of the night in the welterweight division. And it's a pretty one-sided fight. Definitely, I'd say top 2 easiest fights on the card to predict. And I don't think this is 2. As we head to our second fight, which is Jared Night Train Gooden versus Kevin Jousset. I really don't think I need to break down this fight much. I think it's a very easy fight to predict, but I'll talk about it a little bit, because I guess there is the possibility it doesn't go as it should. I'll start by talking about Jared Gooden, the veteran in this fight by a wide margin. Jared in UFC is 2-4. In his first UFC run, he went 1-3, the only win being Nicholas Stoltz, and his 3 losses being Alan Jouban, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, and Randy Brown. And then he had some fights outside of UFC, won some, lost some, only lost one, went 3-1, 4-1 lost to Impa, which that was Battle of the Cans. And then in his UFC return fight, he fought Carsten Harris on short notice. That's why he missed weight, and he looked terrible. And then his last fight, he beat Wellington Turman, which ain't saying much, because Wellington Turman is a joke. So, yeah, he saved his career. If he would have lost there, he probably got cut again. But, yeah, I guess he saved his job for a little bit. he's not a good fighter. Like, I'll keep short and sweet. He's not a good fighter. He has a lot of power in his hands. That's about it. His cardio is not good. His ground game is not good. His chin's not very good. I've seen it. Imagine his chin's alright from what I remember. I remember him taking some big shots from Randy and Carlston. He's just not a good fighter, though. He's pretty old, he's only 30. But, he's not good. He's very one-dimensional. I'm either going to knock you out, or it should be an easy win for you. Like, the only reason he won the tournament fights, he was able to out-crazy Wellington. He made it a brawl that Wellington could not handle, because Wellington tournament sucks. So, yeah, that's why he won that fight. So, he's just not a great fighter. If he hits you, yeah, you're gonna go out. Ask Nicholas Stoltze. But if you have enough technique to just not get hit, you should win easily. That's what Abubakar did. That's what Randy Brown did. That's what Carlston Harris did, so on and so forth. So, he's just not a good fighter. I really just don't, he's not a UFC level fighter. He got cut the first time for a reason. He's gonna get cut the second time sooner than later. He's not good. He's not a UFC level fighter. To talk about his opponent, Kevin Jousset. Kevin in the UFC is 2-0. His 2 wins are Kiefer Crosby and Kenan Song. He's looked good in his 2 fights. His debut was not his greatest performance, but it was a fine performance. It was against a complete joke in Kiefer Crosby, and he looked fine, and he got the win. It was his last fight, which was like, okay, this guy's pretty good, and that's when he pieced up Kenan Song for 15 minutes. That was just a one-sided beating. He just pieced him up. He made it a kickboxing match that Kenan was not going to win. I'm pretty sure it was a 30-27 across the board because it was just a beating. And that's what I think this fight's the Gooden fight's going to be. It's still going to be Jousset, because he is a former kickboxer. He goes to City Kickboxing, all that shit. He fought Jack Della Maddalena. He's going to fucking just keep it on the feet and outstrike you. He does keep his chin up, and he could get that chin cracked. I do remember him taking a few punches, kind of iffy, in his first 2 fights, but I think he'll be able to fight smart enough to not get hit. Maybe I could see him getting dropped in this Gooden fight, but I don't really see him getting knocked out. I think he'll be able to fight smart enough to where he can just survive round 1, because that's all you really gotta do against Jared Gooden, and win. So, I think this would probably be a lot like the Kenan Song fight, where it's just a one-sided kickboxing match that one guy is way better in. So, yeah, I don't think it really should be that complicated of a fight, because it's not very complicated. So, yeah. The betting odds here have Kevin Jousset minus 225 to plus 185. Yeah, I would agree. You can move him up to minus 350. I would say it's the highest I'd put him. I think I'm gonna call him my lock of the night. It's him or Rębecki, who I'll talk about later. And between those two, I could see Rębecki choking more than I could see Jousset. I don't see him losing this fight. I just think he's a better fighter. I think a way better fighter. On the feet, he's way better. The only area he might be weaker in is his power, and oh no, he might even be better on the ground. I think he has more I know he only has 1 submission win. How many does Gooden? Oh no, Gooden has 8. My bad. But I don't think, even if Gooden does try takedowns, I don't think that'll work. I think Jousset will be able to keep this on the feet and just beat Gooden up. I really don't think this is a hard fight for him. I think this is a step down from Kenan Song. Actually, I don't think it is a step down from Kenan Song. So, this is above Kiefer Crosby, but is this above Kenan Song? No. So, yeah, my lock of the night is Kevin Jousset. He should be able to win this fight pretty easily. I think he's a very intriguing prospect at welterweight. I don't think I don't put him in the same regard as Brian Battle, Michael Morales, but he's in that area of I don't know. I'm trying I'm trying to think of, I want to say Michael Malott and Gabriel Bonfim, but those guys have already been fraud checked, which I think Jousset will be eventually, because I don't think he's to the level of your prospects at 170 like Brian Battle and Michael Morales, who are top 15 level guys. He's in that level where he'll be a good fighter, but I don't see him being a top 15 dude. I don't see him beating the guys. I don't see him beating even the better veterans like a Max Griffin or something like that. So, but he should be able to win this fight pretty easily. I don't see him losing this fight. And I'm going Kevin Jousset by decision. I don't think he'll finish. I don't think he'll finish Gooden. I think he's going to fight smart like he did in the Kanan fight and get a pretty easy win. So, yeah, I'm going Kevin Jousset by decision, my lock of the night. I'm not going to talk about this fight. For our next fight, I'm not really going to talk about it. I'm going Charles Johnson. All I got to say, I just don't feel like talking about that. So, I hope Charles Johnson gets the hometown W. He deserves it. After that, we head to our fourth fight of the night, going back to the welterweight division, as we have a battle of prospects, a very interesting fight, as we have Trey, The Truth, Waters versus Billy Goff. Always interesting to see a battle of prospects, because we definitely know so little about them so far, because this is actually both these guys' second fight in the UFC, so let's see how they look. I'm very intrigued because these two are very interesting in their own ways. So let's start with Trey Waters, I think now tied for the tallest welterweight. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Trey in the UFC is 1-0. Funny enough, not coming off Contender Series. Well, he actually lost on Contender Series, but he did win his first fight after Contender Series, and then was able to step in on short notice to fight Josh Quinlan, where he looked great. He completely just outclassed Quinlan from pillar to post for 15 minutes. Big reason he was able to do that is, again, to go back to his height, he is a giant. He is 6'5" at welterweight, which is not even fair. And he's a really big dude. He's not a welterweight. He really should not be fighting at welterweight. He's a fucking middleweight. But he can make the weight. I'm okay. If he can at least make the weight, okay, it's a little more reasonable. I still don't like it, since he's fucking, it's not right. He's a weight bully, clearly, but shit happens. If you can make the weight, it makes it a little more bearable. Jalen Turner. But, yeah, Trey's a very big dude, and he really was able to show he is smart when it comes to using his height and reach as a weapon. He used his reach as a fucking beautiful weapon against Quinlan. He made Quinlan just look lost in there, and that's what he's going to try and do to Goff, since Goff is another short dude compared to Trey. And yeah, on Contender Series he did lose to Bonfim, but that was 2 years ago now. So he has clearly gotten better. We know, it's funny, 2 years later, who's in a better position? Trey Waters, who could be 2-0 after Saturday night, or Bonfim, who just got fraud checked by Dalby. So, I don't know, Trey's intriguing. He's not, from the one fight I've seen of him, he looked fine. He didn't, well, no, I think I did watch the Contender Series fight, but that was old news. He looked fine. He looked really good against a guy like Quinlan, who, yes, Quinlan ain't a good fighter, but Trey was able to fight a perfect fight. He fought his fight for 15 minutes, and if he can do that again, we got a very interesting prospect on our hands. But he definitely is in a tougher fight than he was last fight, because he is fighting someone way better than Josh Quinlan. And that person he is fighting is Billy Goff, who I'll talk about now. A+ transition. Billy Goff in the UFC is 1-0 coming out to Contender Series, and on the Contender Series he had a banger with that guy, where he got dropped but was able to come back and finish him. And then in his UFC debut last year, he fought Yusaku Kinoshita, where he looked great. He was able to hit the perfect body punch and put Kinoshita down. Goff looks like a very interesting prospect. He's really tough. He can take a punch. He does seem to get hurt in all of his fights, but he is able to recover. Toughness is definitely one of his bigger strong points in his fighting style, which I know it sounds stupid, but that's how a lot of fighters are today. And he uses it as an advantage. He's going to be tougher than you half the time, and so far he has been. He's really going to need to find a way to get on the inside in this fight, because he is a lot shorter. He is 5'10". What was Quinlan's height? Because I think Quinlan's a little short. I think I don't know if Quinlan is about the same or shorter. Quinlan was 6 foot. Okay, so he is a little taller. So Goff is even smaller, and now he's going to have to try and find a way to get on the inside as of even smaller fighters than Quinlan. Okay. I think it's going to be obvious his game plan is going to be trying to rush forward, to go to the body, or even get it down. How good that'll work, we'll see, but that definitely should be the game plan, because if he tries to fight at range, he will lose. Because what's the reach advantage? 77 to 72.5. Yeah, he's not going to win at range. It's pretty much get on the inside, land some body shots, or land some headshots, or get it down, or you're going to lose. So, it's not the most crazy fight we've ever seen. We've seen, watch a Stefan Struve fight. That's what all the heavyweights did to him. So, we know his game plan is going to be, can he do it, and can he make it work? We'll see. So, but I think Goff's a very good prospect. I liked him on Contender Series. He looked great in his debut. Let's see how he looks in a very, very tough fight here, because he has to find a way to get around that size. So, let's see if he can. The betting odds for his fight have Trey Waters at -160 to +135. I get it, and I kind of agree. Fighting an even shorter guy than Quinlan, it does make sense. I would probably move Waters down to like a 150. 150. I think like a slight favorite. I think 160 works, but I like 150 a little more, a little closer. Like on paper, Trey can win. It probably should be his favorite, because his pathway to victory is a lot easier, and we've seen him fucking do it before again against Quinlan. But Billy's not Quinlan. Billy's a lot better than Quinlan. I think Billy will be able to be tough enough and smart enough to maybe get on the inside and hurt Waters. Which, if he can do that, we'll see. If he tries to fight at range like Quinlan did, he's going to get fucked up. And I don't think he's going to do that. I think he will be able to hopefully get on the inside and get takedowns if he's smart. So, it's interesting. It's a very interesting fight between two good prospects, and the winner of this is definitely going to get a big boost up the division, because they just knocked off a fellow prospect. So, it's interesting. It's a very fun fight. I'm very intrigued to see who wins this. Who am I going with? I'm going to go with the dude who I think is tougher, and who I think is more experienced, and I think who will be able to maybe hope. I think I'm going to go with who I think has a tougher fight here to win, but I definitely think can. I'm going to go Billy Goff. I think he will be able to get on the inside. I think he will be able to land those shots, maybe get those takedowns and throw Trey off his game, if anything. Maybe land some low kicks, fuck up his legs. I think Goff can do that. I think Goff can go out there and be just be crazy enough to throw Trey off his game. So, that's what I'm going to say he's going to do. I'm going to go Billy Goff here. I think he can get the upside. I think he can stop. I think he can slow down Trey and hopefully get on the inside to land the shots he needs to land. So, I'm going to go Billy Goff by... I don't know if he gets a finish here. I'm leaning in decision. I think... I don't know if he's going to get the finish here. I'm going to say Billy Goff by decision. I think it's going to be a tough fight, but I think it's a fight he can win, and I think the tougher, more experienced guy will win this fight. So I'm going to go Billy Goff by decision, but if for 15 minutes he's getting pieced up at range, I won't be shocked. So, but give me Billy Goff. I think he, let's see who wins. It's a very coin flip fight, if anything. Like, the only reason it's not a pick'em is because Trey is so big. So, but, let's see what, happens. I'm going Billy Goff by decision. After that, we head to our fifth fight of the night, and actually a pretty big fight in the women's strawweight division, and a return. That's not her name anymore. Come on, Topology. But we got a pretty big fight here, and we have a return of an OG who's not even that old. As in our fifth fight of the night in the strawweight division, we have Tabatha, Baby Shark, Ricci versus Tecia, the Tiny Tornado, Pennington. Not Torres anymore, she is Pennington. Come on, update Topology, get it right. Let's see how Tecia does in her return here. Very tough return fight against a very good fighter like Tabatha. And Tabatha, let's see how she does after her first loss in a while. Interesting fight. Let's talk about Tabatha Ricci first. Ricci in the UFC is 4-2. Her 4 wins are Maria Oliveira, Poliana Viana, Jessica Panay, and Jillian Robertson. Her 2 losses are Manon Fierro and Lupi Godinez. And that Manon fight you can kind of fucking put an asterisk next to, because that was up a weight class on short notice. So really, she's 4-1 in the UFC. And the Loopy fight was her first loss at strawweight, I think, of her whole career. So, well, I don't think this is MMA. So that was some custom rules of bullshit. But Tabatha is an interesting fighter. She's really good. Her ground game is great. It's her striking that's an issue. And that's why she lost the Lupi Godinez fight. She was not able to get it to the ground, and she got outstruck. If she has been able to improve her striking in the time she's been away, I think she could be a really interesting fighter in that division, because she is very talented. Her cardio is good. Her ground game is great. She just does not have the striking ability. Like, she was able to outstrike Joanne Robertson, but that's not saying much. When she fought someone who can actually strike back, like Lupi Godinez, she got beat. So, I think if she's smart, which I do believe she is, plus she is with that Callan, I forget what his name is, that Irish boxer Dana loves. So if she is with that guy who's probably teaching her how to actually fucking throw a punch, she could be a very good prospect here. And if she's learning and getting better, she's gonna be pretty good. But if she's just staying as the same fighter she has been, then her career is going to be very up and down. But I do think she will and has gotten better. I don't think she's going to just stay the same fighter, because I think she's seen the tape and she's seen she can't fucking strike. So let's see if she's gotten better on her feet. So if she has, we have an interesting fighter. She's not even a prospect; she's ranked. But we got an interesting Ricci on our hands, because we already know she has a ground game and a cardio. Can she keep it when she's striking with someone who can actually strike back? Can she be at least fucking capable of going into a close striking match? We'll see. Because Lupi Godinez kind of clearly, if I remember, won that striking matchup, which is saying a lot, because that's Lupi Godinez beating you in a striking match. But yeah, Ricci's good, and she's still young. She can get better. To talk about her opponent, Tecia Pennington, finally back after a 2-year break, which was having a kid. Yeah, Ticia's an OG, 9-6 in the UFC. Some of her best wins are Angela Hill, twice, if I'm correct. Yep, Angela Hill, Beck Rawlings, Michelle Waterson, Sam Hughes, and then her losses: Rose, Andrade, Joanna, Whaley, Marina, and Mackenzie, even though most people think she won that fight. Yeah, it's good to see Tecia back, because she even left on a fight where most people think she won, so that's saying a lot. But now after a 2-year break of having a kid at 34 years old, how will she look? That's definitely the main question here. We'll see. We've seen a lot of returns the last few years. We've seen Durand Durandamy. We've seen a couple others. Durandamy came to mind first, since that just happened a month ago, and she looked very rusty. But that was a 4-year break. This is only a 2-year break. And Tecia has been staying in the MMA scene, because of course she's with Raquel Pennington, who just won the fucking belt. So she's definitely riding high off of that. So we'll see how she looks here. This is definitely not a fight that's impossible for her to win. If it's just dependent. Let's see how rusty she looks, because of course I highly doubt she's gonna jump in there and be the same Tecia Torres we've seen in her last couple fights, where she could easily be on a 4-fight winning streak. This is going to be one that's gonna need to knock the rust off, and against Tabatha Ricci, that's not gonna be very easy to do. You're going to have to stop those takedowns, a lot of takedowns, and try and see how her striking is going to hold up. So, yeah, it's an interesting fight. And again, the UFC is not giving these fighters a very easy return. You had Jermaine fight Dumont, you're having Tecia fight Ricci. No easy returns in UFC. So, but it makes sense, since Tecia was ranked when she dipped. She was in the top 10 or some shit. So it does make sense that she is getting a top 15 fight. So we'll see how she looks. She's only 34 years old, which I know that's sound like it's old, but it's still not crazy old. But after a 2-year break, being that old is not great. So, but we'll see what happens here. The betting odds for this fight have Tabatha Ricci minus 145 to plus 115. Yeah, maybe you can move him down a little bit, but I think that's about right. We all know what Ricci's gonna try and do. She's gonna try and take Tecia down, which is the smart thing to do. Because again, Ricci has bad striking, and like it's a pretty simple fight. Who's the better striker? Tecia Torres. Who's better on the ground? Tabatha Ricci. So like they're literally the exact same height and reach, which is weird. But yeah, it's an intriguing fight, and it's gonna be interesting to see who can make their. Has Ricci gotten better, or compared to how rusty is Tecia? It's gonna be intriguing. It's definitely gonna be an interesting fight. I'm gonna go Tabatha Ricci. I think she'll be able to get the takedown she needs to get the wins here. Like, even if she does slow down later in the fight, which I don't think she will, but even if she did slow down, I think she can bag the first 2 rounds to where by the time Tecia might actually knock the rust off in round 3, she would need a finish, which she's not gonna get. So I'm gonna go Tabatha Ricci by decision. Gonna be an interesting fight. Good to see Tecia back. And let's see what happens here. I'm going Tabatha Ricci by decision. See what happens. After that, we head to our 6th fight of the night, a banger in the lightweight division. Definitely not. This is not getting a decision prediction. I can tell you that right now. This is going to end in round 1, as we have a banger between Terrance T-Rex McKinney versus Esteban El Gringo Ribovics. If Terrance McKinney is fighting, you know this ain't going 15 minutes. This is gonna be a banger. I can't wait. Let's start talking about the T-Rex, Terrance McKinney. McKinney in the UFC is 5-3. His wins are... He did a grappling match? That's cool. His wins are Matt Ferreira, Faraz, Eric Gonzalez, Mike Breeden, and Brandon Marotte. And his 3 losses are Drew Dober, Ismail Bonfim, and Nazim Sadikov. I know McKinney gets a lot of shit, but that's the first time I've actually read down his L's, and it's like, are we really upset he lost to those 3? Like, Dober and Nazim are very good fighters, and Ismail Bonfim, definitely the weakest one of the 3, but shit happens. McKinney is kind of funny that Derek Lewis is on card, since McKinney is kind of like Derek to the point to where it's round 1 or bust. He's either going to knock you out in the first round or you're going to beat him up. And that's how his UFC career has been. All his wins are in round 1. Round 1 knockout, round 1 submission, 1, 1, 1. Every time he makes it past round 1, or it goes even deeper into round 1, he loses. Round 1, round 2, round 2. So, McKinney is going to go out there, fight like a psychopath, and whatever happens, happens. Sometimes he's able to land that money shot, like those last 2 fights, even though they were against bottom-of-the-barrel fighters, still got to win. Or he's going to fail to get the knockout, either because who he's fighting's tough as shit, or he just could not land that shot. So, it's going to be interesting, very interesting fight here, and again, it's McKinney, we know he's going to have a banger. Do I think he's, could he have improved? Probably, but if he hasn't improved by now, I don't think he really will. If he wanted to improve as a fighter, I think he would have. But his cardio still sucks, his ground game is still pretty much a liability. He's going to go out there, throw some strikes, and see if he gets the knockout early. If not, if whatever the live betting, let's say, hypothetically, let's say in round 1 he drops Ribovics, but it does go into round 2. Let's say if the live betting odds have McKinney the favorite, bet on Esteban, because we know McKinney ain't gonna win when the fight goes into the 2nd round. So, but either way, it's gonna be a fun fight. So that's all that really matters, in my opinion. Let's see. Let's see who goes out. To talk about his opponent, Esteban Ribovics. Esteban in the UFC is 1-1. His in the UFC debut coming off the Contender Series, he fought Razipov, where he got beat. That was just kind of a learning experience for him. He kind of just got he fought really bad. His fight IQ looked terrible. Just a lot of bad in that fight. He was Loic has Like, that was actually aging pretty well, because Loic is a good fighter. But, yeah, that was kind of a learning experience for him. And then his last fight against Kamala Kirk, he looked good, but it was against Kamala Kirk, who sucks ass. So, kind of got a grain of salt there. But now he's fighting Terrance McKinney, a dude who is definitely going to just gonna be down to go in there and fight. We'll see how he looks. We'll see how he looks when the fire comes to him, because kind of in his last 2 fights, he's been the fire. Loic was taking him down a lot. Kamala Kirk, I think he was taking Kamala down more than anything. Well, no, my bad. I remember him, he did rock Kamala a lot, and he did hurt him. So he's been the fire in his last 2 fights, and now he has to kind of put out the fire. We'll see how he does. His chin's gonna be tested, but if he can survive round 1, he's definitely live to win this fight. He's definitely live. Could get a big win here. Big win for a dude young into his career to beat a veteran and a UFC veteran at this point like McKinney. Would be a big win, man. On a pretty big card. We'll see what happens. The betting on first fight, I have Esteban Ribovics minus 190 to plus 160. I think that's a little insane. Like, I think to have him almost minus 200 against Terrance McKinney is a little crazy, because you never know if Terrance, he can get the knockout or he's gonna get knocked out. You never know. I would have it like, I'm torn between if I would have it a Pick'em or Ribovics as the small favorite. I'd say Pick'em, because you really don't know. Either McKinney's gonna get the finish in the first round, or Ribovics is going to survive and win later. Whichever one happens, you really don't know until the fight happens. It's very unpredictable. So, yeah, you never know. Who am I going with? I'm gonna be biased. I gotta go with the boy T-Rex. I don't think I've ever picked against McKinney, and if I have, it was a dumb pick. Yeah, I'm going McKinney. I'm a big McKinney fan. I'd love to see him get another win here, and I think he can. So, of course, I'm going to knock out in the first, because that's the only way he's going to win this fight. And I'd like to see him win. Again, would I be shocked if he loses? No. But I think he's a better fighter than Ribovics. I think his striking's better. I think yeah, he has the power advantage. It's just cardio is worse. The ground game, he's shown weird ground game in the past. Like I said, he submitted Ziam and fucking Gonzalez. He's shown weird ground game, but it's few and far between. So I'm gonna go McKinney here by knockout in the first, because I'm a McKinney fan. Would love to see it. But if you honestly ask me what I think's gonna happen, I don't know. Pick 'em. Either a knockout's going to happen in the first round, or a knockout's going to happen in the second round. We know which will be which. So, give me Terrance McKinney by knockout in the first. Should be a banger. Definitely could steal the show. I could definitely see a fight of the night. Either a fight, I'll make a prediction here. You're either going to see the fight of the night bonus go to that fight, or a performance of the night bonus go to that fight. I can almost guarantee it. Terrance McKinney by knockout in the first. And now for the featured prelim, a fight that seems like a fucking meme, but I'm actually happy this is happening because it's just a funny fight. As in our featured prelim, staying in the lightweight division, we have a fucking banger between Chase, the Dream, Hooper versus Viacheslav, Slavaklaus, Borshchev. I love how UFC's been booking Chase Hooper lately. This is the second meme fight in a row. He fought Jordan Levitt in his last fight, now Slava. I love it. And I love this fight in general. I'm a fan of both these guys. I think this could be a really intriguing fight. Let's see what happens. Let's start with talking about Chase Hooper. Chase in the UFC is 5-3. His 5 wins are Daniel Tamer, Peter Barrett, Felipe Corrales, Nick Fiore, and Jordan Levitt. His 3 losses are Alex Caceres, who was funny enough on the card, Steven Peterson, and Steve Garcia. Him at featherweight was just never going to work. He was too skinny, he was too drained, and that's why he did go 3-3 at featherweight. Since moving up to lightweight, he's 2-0, and he's looked better than ever. He looked amazing in his lightweight debut against Nick Fiore, yes, against low competition, but he still looked really good. And against Jordan Levitt, he subbed him in 3 minutes. He subbed him quicker than Patty did, because he's better than Paddy Pimblett. Lightweight's his weight class. He's able to still have the height advantage he had at featherweight, but he's not so drained. He can actually have meat on his bones when he's fighting instead of killing himself to actually make featherweight. So, and we have literally seen this dude grow up in the UFC. Like, he started his UFC debuts when he was like 19. He's the first Raw Rosas, if we're being honest. Yeah, his debut was at 20, but he was on the Contender Series at like 18 or some shit. So, yeah, he was the first Raul Rosas. I think they treated him better than Raul, because they didn't sign him immediately. But he has improved as a fighter. His striking has gotten better. Like, we know his ground game's great. We saw that in Levitt fight, but in the Nick Fiore fight, he looked like he was angry and pissed off. He wanted to show people he can strike, and he looked good. Like, he has no power, but he had, like, it's kind of the Max Holloway effect. He doesn't have power, but he has the volume. He's so lengthy, and he has the volume, and his punches over time get more annoying, and they hurt more. Like, that's the fucking skinny dude effect. So, him moving up to lightweight has saved his career, and 2-0, could be 3-0 after Saturday. Chase has talent. It's just he was in the wrong weight class. Now he's up a weight class. He's looking better. And if he can get a win in this fight, ooh, now we're talking now. We're really talking now. But I don't think we're going to see that striking in this fight because of who he's fighting. Because he is fighting Viacheslav Borshchev. We all know Slava Claus by now. Slava in the UFC is 2-2-1. His 2 wins are Dakota Bush and Machete. His 2 losses are Mark Diakase and Mike Davis, and his draw was in his last fight with Nazim Sadikov, which was a banger. We know what we're getting with Slava at this point. He's going to go in there and have a great... He's a great kickboxer. He's going to kick. He's going to punch. He can't go to the ground because he sucks on the ground, and that's what he's going to do. That Nazim fight did show some improvements, but he still is not great on the ground. His cardio is not great, but he has gotten better. He has gotten better from the guy who just became a plank of wood when fighting Mike Davis and Mark Diakase. So, and again, his striking is really good. He's still like a scary good striker. It's just that ground game and cardio, little sus. But if he might not even have to worry about that in this fight. At least the cardio point. The ground game is going to need to worry about because he's going to get shot on. But the cardio, we'll see, because the fight might not go long. And this is a very favorable matchup for Slava, to be honest, because, like, it is and isn't at the same. It is and isn't. It is because he's fighting a dude who can't strike, but it isn't because he's fighting a dude who's really good on the ground. So he's fighting someone who plays into his strengths and weakness. So it's interesting. It's complete opposite of his last 2 fights, who were 2 complete strikers. So, well, I guess Nazim can wrestle, but he really didn't too much. So it's intriguing. It's intriguing though, and yeah, it's definitely a more favorable matchup for Slava than it is for Chase. But I don't think, like, I've seen a lot of people talk about this fight as it's really one-sided. On paper, you would think so, but are you really going to count out Chase getting on his back or getting a submission? Like, we know Slava's ground game is not good. Like, and I've said this. I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again. Okay, let's compare. What do you think is better, Chase's striking or Slava's ground game? I'm going to say Chase's striking. I think Chase has a better chance of winning on the feet than Slava has in winning in a grappling match. If you're asking me, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Chase has better strike, and he has gotten better at striking. Plus, he'll have a giant reach advantage and height advantage. So, I don't know. I do get why people look at this as a very one-sided matchup, but I don't think it's as one-sided as people want to make it out to be. So, that's just what I'm saying. And I'm not even speaking as, like I am a Chase fan. He's one of my favorite fighters. I don't want to sound biased. I'm not trying to sound biased, so I'm just saying what I personally think, and what I think is it's closer than people act, so. The Bang Expert fight have Slava Claus minus 180. I think he might have moved up to minus 200 favorite by now. I wouldn't be too shocked. I would have him minus 185. I think that sounds about right. Cause, is there, like, more than likely, if they fight 10 times, I'd say about maybe 6 to 7 times he knocks Chase out. But I feel like people are forgetting there's that world where Chase does an M&R roll. That's how he got Steven Peterson. Or, not Steven Peterson, Peter Barrett. Or he just gets a takedown, he catches a kick. Like, I feel like people are really counting out Chase here when he's, like, people still think he's that featherweight kid who can't fight, when he's the lightweight guy who's actually gotten really better. So, it's a really intriguing fight. I really can't wait for this fight. It's one of my favorite fights on the card. So, I'm excited. I can't wait. Who am I going with? I'm going Chase, man. I'm a little biased. I'm going to go Chase. But I do think he actually can win. Do I think he will? Probably not. But I'm going to say I think he can. So, yeah. So, but my pick here is going to be Chase Hooper. I'm going to go by submission in the second. If he can survive, I think he has a better gas tank for sure than Slava. And if he can extend the fight to the second round, I think it really gonna start looking up for Chase. So this could be a huge moment for Chase. If he can get a win here, his career can really get interesting. But we'll see. He can get knocked out. If he got knocked out here, I would not be very shocked. So, but I'm gonna go Chase Super by submission in a second. Let's see what happens. Could go either way. Great featured prelim. Let's see how it goes. So those are the prelims. Only 51 minutes in, yeah, good prelims. Starts off with a good fight. Excuse me. This could be good. This will probably be fun. Excuse me. These will be fun. This will be a fun fight. And then these two will be really entertaining, so let's see what happens in those. But yeah, those are the prelims. Now to move on to the main card, which we have plenty more to talk about. This is going to be a long-ass video. But yeah, enough of me rambling. Let's just get to the main card opener in the heavyweight division. We have a very intriguing fight, which could end in a fraud checking. As we have Waldo, Salsa Boy, Cortes-Acosta versus Robelis, the big boy, Despaigne. I think this is a pretty simple fight to break down, but I'll still talk about the fighters a little bit. Let's start with Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Waldo in the UFC is 4-1. His 4 wins are Jared Vanderaa, Chase Sherman, Lucas Bresky, and Andre Arlovski. He's a weird fighter at this point. He's like the slowest heavyweight ever. He does not fight for a finish. Like, I know he got one in the Bresky fight, but he was just able to clip him. Like, he throws a lot of power, and if he lands, it's gonna hurt. But it seems like he's so content with just fighting slow. It's weird. That's how, like, his other, like, the Arlovski fight, he just fought slow as shit, and he taunted him. It's like, bro, you're fighting slow as dirt. Calm down. It's like, it's so interesting how weird Waldo is as a fighter. He still has no idea how to check a leg kick. And his cardio is okay. But yeah, I've never seen a heavyweight fight so passive-aggressive. It's weird. It's truly rare and weird to see. But he's in a big spot here. A win here, and he really fucks up some of the UFC's plans. But let's see if he can cause the upset and cause the UFC's new golden goose to get exposed. Because to talk about that golden goose, Robelis Despaigne, who is a very intriguing fighter. 1-0 in the UFC, made his debut 2 months ago at 299, knocking out Josh Parisian. And we've not seen much of him fight, but we've seen him fight a little bit. He's an interesting fighter. He is 35 years old, but it is heavyweight. He has the longest reach in UFC history. He is a giant human being at 6'7", and if he touches you, you're gonna go down. the problem is, we've not seen him go past the first round. And the longest fight of his career was, 4.5 minutes? So, I really think eventually he will get fraud checked. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe he does have a gas tank. Maybe he can fucking fight past round 1. We'll see. But I definitely think that will happen sooner than later, especially with them pushing him so quick when he's only 5-0. So, I'm intrigued. I am highly intrigued to see what they do here. And how he does here in a giant step up in competition from Josh Parisian. So, can he land that big punch? Or will he get fraud checked? We'll see. The betting odds for site have Despaigne minus 170 to plus 145. Yeah, I don't know. I would have Despaigne minus... fuck. The problem here is Waldo's not gonna fight like an idiot, like Parisian did. He ain't gonna run forward with his hands down, throwing punches. He's gonna fight his fight, and let's see, that might really fuck up Despaigne. I would have Robelis like minus 140, 160 at most. It's hard for me to feel very confident when we've not really seen this dude have a fight. All his fights are one punch, you're down, it's over. The one fight he went over, that was his debut. His career debut. So, and I don't even think Waldo's that good. I want to see him get knocked the fuck out. But I definitely think there's a world where he's able to just fight his fight and fraud check Despaigne. If the fight does go a couple minutes, does Robelis start gassing? If it goes into round 2, does he start tiring out? And he's like, oh, if he connects good enough and Waldo doesn't go down, is he like, oh shit? I think we're like, I think the kid is good. Well, kid, motherfucker's 35 years old and calling him a prospect. I think he is good, but we've not seen him tested, and this is going to be a test, possibly. If he passes this with flying colors, it's going to be intriguing. But if he does get fraud checked here, don't be shocked. I won't be. If he got fraud checked here, I would not be surprised, to be honest with you. I think it's a very high possibility. And I don't want it to happen, because again, fuck Waldo for disrespecting Andrei Arlovski. But it could happen, so we'll see. I'm intrigued. I'm going to go Despaigne by knockout in the first. I'm going to say he's still able to land that kill shot. But as he climbs those mid-heavyweight rankings, let's see if he can just rely on that one-punch power. Let's see if he can just Francis his way to a title, or up the rankings, because we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm going Despaigne by knockout in the first, but don't be shocked if a fraud check happens. Don't be shocked. I'm not saying bet on Waldo, but if the fight definitely goes later in the round 1 or round 2 and Waldo's like an underdog on the live odds, put your bet in, because I definitely feel like that's when a lot of questions will be answered. So, yeah. I'm going Despaigne by knockout in the first to begin the main card. To go into our second fight of the main card, in the featherweight division, we have two very big featherweights, very tall dudes, and a veteran thrown in there. And in our second fight of the main card, we have Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres versus Sean the Sniper Woodson. This will be a really intriguing fight. Two very lengthy guys, two very big featherweights, and two dudes on the older side, 35 and 31. We'll see how this goes. It's gonna be interesting. I guess let's start. We're talking about Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres, a guy who I really don't think I need to say much about, because I think we all know Bruce Leroy by now. He is on the older side at 35 years old, but he's a legend. I'd say he's a legend at this point. He's a veteran. In the UFC, he is 16, 12, and 1. Some of his wins, because fuck you, I'm not naming every one of his wins. Some of his best wins are Sergio Pettis, Chase Hooper, Sungwoo Choi, Julian Rosa, Daniel Pineda. His losses are some of his more notable losses, because I only know who half those guys are. He lost to Faber, Yair Rodriguez in a main event, Jason Knight, Kron Gracie, Sadiq Youssef, Giga Chikadze. we know we're getting with Caceres to an extent. We know he has really good kicks on the feet. His striking's okay, but it's not great. It's mainly all about the kicks on the feet. And then on the ground, he's really good. Like, we've seen him get beat on the ground by guys like Kron Gracie, and Jason Knight. So that is a problem. Like, when he fights guys who can go to the ground from him, he does have some issues. But he is able to, but when he's fighting someone who can't go to the ground, he usually does some of them. Yeah, this is gonna be a really tough fight for him, because we have seen him struggle against these taller guys, like a Sung Woo Choi who did crack him, or, even Giga, who was, I think, about his size, wasn't he? Yeah, Giga was taller than him. So, we've seen Alex really struggle with these guys in the past, these tall guys, and Woodson's probably the tallest fighter he's fought, I would imagine. So, yeah, this is going to be a really tough fight for Alex. I really don't think he will win this fight, because I don't think he will be able to get those takedowns to win this fight, because I don't think he's going to win this on the feet. I'd be amazed if he won this on the feet. So, I think it's going to be a really tough fight for him, and it might go really bad for him. He might get finished, because we have seen him get taken a lot of damage lately. So, and we know he does not have a great chin. If you're able to crack him, you'll probably drop him. Pineda dropped him, Sung Woo Choi dropped him, etc. Like, he did have a nice career resurgence from the end of 2019 through 2023, where he did only lose one fight, and that was to Sadiq, which that was even not a bad performance. But I guess the main problem was that he didn't beat anyone that great. Like, he knocked off Chase, Eros, and Pineda, but he really wasn't beating anyone that great. He was ranked, he did get ranked at a time, but then he did fight Giga, where he just got outclassed in every fucking sense of the word. So, but yeah, I think he did break his, like, arm or some shit, so let's see what this 35-year-old can do. He's still fighting good at his age, but he is getting older, and we'll see what he can do, because this is a very, very tough fight for him, in my opinion. As an Alex Caceres fan, I really don't love this fight for him. But maybe he can get the upset. We've seen crazier things happen. To talk about his opponent, Sean Woodson. Woodson in the UFC is 5-1-1. His 5 wins are Kyle, that guy, Yusuf Dalal, Colin Anglin, Dennis Pazukia, and Charles Jourdain. His one loss is Giuliani Rosa, and he did have a draw of Luis Saldana, which I'm pretty sure he did get knocked out in that fight, but I forget what happened for that not to be a knockout. And it's actually funny, he beat Terrance McKinney on a Contender Series. Woodson has really come into his own lately. He has been able to fight really well using his size advantage, because he is really tall. He's a 6'2" featherweight. So he has been really able to use his reach advantage to win fights. That's how he won the Jourdain fight. Jourdain just never really shot a takedown or anything. He just kept striking with him at range, and that was an easy night for Woodson. He was just able to easily win, and I feel like fucking he's just really been able to come into his own. Like, he's not trying to fight. He's trying to fight one guy's fight and one guy's fight only, and that's his. That's the same thing with Trey Waters. He's gonna fight at range and try and pick you apart at range, and it has worked. So, we'll see if he can do it again. His last 2 fights have been against either a debuting guy or a guy who just did not try and take him down. So, we know Caceres will try and take him down, but we'll see how well that goes for Bruce Leroy. So, yeah, 31 years old, Woodson is really starting to make a nice run at featherweight, and a win here, you might give him a ranking, because Caceres has been ranked for a long time now. This is the first time Alex has not really been ranked going into a fight since, I think, his last fight, I think the Sung Woo Choi fight, I believe. So it's gonna be interesting, a very interesting fight, very winnable fight, and a very favorable fight for Sean Woodson. So yeah. The betting for this fight have Sean Woodson minus 190 to plus 160. I agree. I would have Woodson minus 200. He should win this fight. He is much taller. He is much longer. He is 4 years younger. He is not coming off a broken, I believe, arm against Giga Chikadze. He's coming off a one against Charles Jourdain in Canada. He should win this fight, in my opinion. I would be a little shocked if he did lose this fight. The really only way I could see him losing this fight is if Caceres did get on his back and take him down and subbed him. I don't think Alex would even win. I don't think he would fight like this anyway, but I don't think he would win this fight if he just shoot takedowns constantly, and he would just gas himself out more before he won the fight. So I'm gonna pick Caceres out of pure bias. Let me say that now, because I am a giant Bruce Leroy fan, one of my favorite fighters. But I really don't think he's going to win this fight. I'm just picking him out of bias. I think he's probably going to get 30-27 here. Or, even worse, probably will get finished. So, I'm going to Bruce Leroy by decision out of pure bias, but I definitely have no faith in that actually happening. But I said that for the Sung Woo Choi fight and he won. So, yeah, but I also said that with Giga and Jousset and he lost. So, but yeah, give me Alex Caceres by decision. I'm biased, but if I was putting in a real pick, I would say Sean Woodson probably by decision, or even Sean Woodson by a finish. So, but give me Bruce Leroy by decision. Always good to see you. It always sucks to see Caceres lose, but it's always great to see him win. So, we'll see what happens. After that, we head to our third fight of the main card in the lightweight division. And this is the only fight that I think has changed due to a dropout, and I'll talk about that in 1 second. As in our third fight of the main card in the lightweight division, we have Diego Ferreira versus Mateusz Rębecki. If I'm correct, this was meant to be... Yes. Oh, no. No, yeah, I'm right. It wasn't meant to be on this card, but this was meant to be Rębecki versus Joel Alvarez, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he was meant to fight Joel Alvarez a few weeks ago, but 2 weeks ago, but Joel Alvarez pulled out. God damn, what a shame, because this fight's so fucking good on paper. But Alvarez pulled out, they moved Rębecki back 2 weeks, and now he's fighting Diego Ferreira. So respect to Diego Ferreira for stepping in on a very tough fight on short notice, no less. I think this is the second easiest fight on the card to predict, but you never know, an upset can happen. So let's start talking about the veteran Diego Ferreira. Diego in the UFC is 9-5. Some of his most notable wins are over Urban Mercer, Jared Gordon, Kyle Nelson, Rustam Khabilov, Anthony Pettis, and Michael Johnson. His losses are Beneil Dariush, Dustin Poirier, Beneil Dariush again, Gregor Gillespie, and Mateusz Gamrot. Diego is older, clearly. He is almost 40. Like, he did turn back the clock in his last fight, flatlining Michael Johnson, but that is Michael Johnson, the GOAT himself, who will never win a fight he should win. He is older, and he was actually losing that fight, if I remember, before the knockout, so, and then before that he had a 3-fight losing streak, so, yeah, I think his time is getting pretty much up, especially at lightweight as it gets tougher. Like, he's still not a bad fighter, but with where he is in the lightweight division, where he is going to be fighting these tougher competition guys like Rębecki, or Joel Alvarez, those like unranked but like really tough guys, Drew Dober. It's gonna be really tough for him. Like, Michael Johnson was just kind of a really lucky matchup he got, which was very favorable because Michael Johnson's gonna Michael Johnson it. But he is older. He had his time to shine in the spotlight. He did win 6 in a row here. But yeah, he really could never get it done against the top guys. I noticed looking at his record. Like, his best win was what? Showtime in 2020, which is not really a great win, to be honest. But was he the first guy to beat Khabilov? I don't think he was. But yeah, he's definitely older, and another year break in between fights. It's like, Jesus. And now he's fighting a very tough young dude in Rębecki. This could go pretty bad. So yeah. We respect to Diego for stepping in and taking a very unfavorable matchup on short notice against this guy, so respect. And to talk about that guy, Mateusz Rębecki. Rębecki in the UFC is 3-0, coming off the Contender Series. In his 3 UFC fights, he has beat Nick Fiora, Loic Radzhabov, and Roosevelt Roberts. Yeah, Rębecki's good. Like, I was kind of a hater at first, because I think he did look very underwhelming against Nick Fiora, but that Loic fight where he was like, okay, yeah, he's good, and then Roosevelt Roberts, he ran through. This is his first real test in the UFC, because so far his hardest fight was Loic Radzhabov, who's good, but he definitely should not be your hardest fight in the UFC. But this is definitely going to be the first time we get to see how good Rębecki really is, because this is a step up from Nick Fior and Roosevelt Roberts. So fighting a tough veteran on fighting a tough veteran after having to change opponents, that's interesting. So yeah, Rębecki's good though. He's really a well-rounded fighter. He's good on the feet. He's good on the ground. He's not bad anywhere. Like maybe his cardio's not great if I remember from the Nick Fior fight, but if you don't gotta fight that long, you really don't need to worry about cardio. So, but yeah, Rębecki's good, and I think he will be able to win this fight pretty easily. I don't get clipped or don't get submitted, I would say, but I really don't think you have to worry about that. I think he's just I think he's just better in every area than Diego. He's 8 years younger. He's on a hot streak. He's not been off for a year. He fought 5 months ago. I think he should win this fight. I'd be a little shocked if he didn't. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Mateusz Rębecki minus 265 to plus 250. I'd say he should be minus 300, if not like even a 315. It was tough for me to pick between him and Kevin Jousset for the lock of the night. The reason I picked Jousset over him, because I feel like there's a higher chance and this is my logic, I think there's a higher chance Rębecki chokes this easy win than Jousset chokes against Gooden. I think Diego's a way better fighter, and B, there's way more, that's my logic. I think that logic does make sense. And if I really want to be fucking stupid about it, I could say it's a double lock, Rębecki and Jousset, but I don't like to do that. I go one lock, and that's Jousset, but Rębecki is like a close second, because he should win this fight. I'd be a little shocked if he didn't win this fight. And, yeah, I'm going Mateusz Rębecki, obviously. How do I think he's gonna win? I think he's gonna get a finish. I don't think this is gonna go 15 minutes. Is he gonna be the first man to submit fucking Diego Ferreira? I doubt it. I don't think that's gonna be the game plan he uses here. Fuck. Knockout or submission? Give me Rębecki by knockout in a second. I think he's gonna chop down Diego with the leg kicks and win this fight. I don't think he's gonna be the first guy to submit Diego, because I think if he wants to play a risky game, he takes Diego down, which I don't think you're gonna want to do. I think you're gonna want to play it smart, win on the feet, and do his things. I'm gonna go Rębecki by knockout in a second. It's either gonna be a knockout submission. I'm leaning knockout. I think it's a safer play for him to keep it standing. I think that's what he'll do. So, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did catch Diego in a guillotine or a rear naked choke, something basic like that, armbar, what have you. So, yeah, I'm going Mateusz Rębecki by knockout in a second. We'll see. He should win this fight. I don't think he's gonna choke this, and I'm gonna say by knockout. But who really knows? It could be a submission. We will have to wait and see. Rębecki by knockout in a second. After that, we head to our fourth fight of the main card in the light heavyweight division. We have a very good fight that might go 15 minutes. You never know. As we have Alonzo Atomic Menifield versus Carlos Black Jag Ulberg. This should be an interesting fight. Might be a fun fight. Could get a finish here. You never know. I'm intrigued in this fight. Should be intriguing. Ranking on the line here. Alonzo is ranked, I think, 14th or 12 or some shit. So, we'll see what happens here. Both these guys are on nice hot streaks. Let's see what happens. We'll start with talking about Alonzo Menifield. Alonzo in the UFC is 8-3-1. His wins are Vinicius Moraes, I said that wrong, Paul Craig, Fabio Sharon, Ed Herman, Ashgar Morozov, Misha Serkinov, Jimmy Crute, and Dustin Jacoby. I saw his last fight was Crute. I forgot this Jacoby fight even happened. His losses are Devin Clark, OSP, and William Knight. Yeah, he's really coming to his own lately, on a nice 4-fight winning streak. 4-0-1 on a draw. Pretty much a 4-fight winning streak against, kind of weak competition. The last two ones are not bad. He pretty much ended Jimmy Crute's career, and then beating Jacoby, if I remember, pretty handily was not a bad win for him. So, Yeah, Menifield's good. Menifield's getting, like, he's gotten better. He's been able to become more than just someone who hits hard. Because that's what he was early in his career, is kind of knockout or bust. But now he has become more well-rounded. His ground game is improving. His cardio's not bad. But this is definitely going to be his toughest fight in a long time. So we'll see how he does here. Like I said, he has been able to get better. But, we'll see how he does. Ulberg is going to be a really tough test for him. A dude who is tall. A dude who's going to fight smarter than him. If Menifield tries to fight Ulberg's fight, which is a fucking high-level kickboxing match, then he'll probably lose. But if he shoots takedowns or just tries to rush in on him, we'll see what happens. Gonna be intriguing how he approaches this fight, because he could approach this in many ways, and we'll see which one he uses, because who knows. But yeah, Alonzo has really become a better fighter. He is 36 years old, but yeah, he's at light heavyweight, so he's okay. We'll see what happens here. Menifield has gotten better, though. We'll see if he can make it a 5-fight winning streak and knock off the streaking Carlos Ulberg, who I'll talk about next. Ulberg in the UFC is 5-1. His 5 wins are Fabio Cherant, Tafon Chukwi, Negu Mariano, Ihor Potieria, and Da Ong Jung. His 1 loss is to Kendi and Dechiku. Yeah, ever since his debut, he's become a really good fighter. Like, he started off pretty slow. This was a pretty bad performance, and this was kind of, it was Tafon. But he's really coming to his own lately. Like, he looked ending the hype of Negu Mariano, smashing Ihor in 2 minutes, and then having a really good, well-rounded performance against Da Ong Jung. He's looked good. He's really improved as a fighter, and he's looking like a really good prospect at light heavyweight. He is 33 years old, so he doesn't have to start hurrying that up. But he's still young in his MMA career. Like, this is only his 11th fight. So, and this is his first real challenge in a while. Like, I would say the last fight that was a real challenge for him was Negu Mariano, because Ihor and Da Ong Jung are trash. So this is his first real, like, tough fight, I would say. So, we'll see how he looks here. It's gonna be really, intriguing, because this is a tough fight again. But whoever wins this is gonna get a real big boost in the rankings. Because either Alonzo knocks off, Ulberg, who's on a 5-fight winning streak, or Ulberg makes it 6 in a row and gets the ranking. So it'll be interesting. It's a very good fight. Kind of a fight I feel like no one talking about this week. Even I've it's even went under my radar a lot of the week. So let's see what happens. The betting odds have Carlos Ulberg minus 210 to plus 170. I would move that down a little bit. I would have Ulberg maybe minus 195. I don't know if I would have him a 200 favorite. Like, I definitely think he should win this fight, but I definitely don't think I would have him minus 200. I think that's a little much, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. This is gonna be a good fight. I probably, maybe. I'm gonna go Carlos Ulberg. I'm leaning a decision. I could see it being a lot like the Fabio Cherant fight, where he just fights smarter than Alonzo. Because I think he's gonna know he's not gonna want to go in there and fight stupid. Because that's what Jimmy Crute did. That's why he lost. That's what a lot of guys have done against Menifield, and that's why they got knocked out cold. Against Menifield, Ulberg's gonna want to fight smart. He's gonna want to have a kickboxing match. He's 4 inches taller and an inch reach advantage. Fight smarter, not harder. I'm gonna go Carlos Ulberg by decision, I believe. Just fight smart. Simple as that. You don't really need to do anything else besides that. Have a simple kickboxing match where you will win. You would not. I'd be a little shocked if you lose a kickboxing match to Alonzo Menifield. And yeah, I'm gonna go Carlos Ulberg by decision. Who knows what's gonna happen, but that's what I think's gonna happen. So, but Menifield could land that big bomb. Menifield could take him down, or who knows. But I'm going Carlos Ulberg by decision. And now for the co-main event of the evening, a very fun fight that should be the main event, as we have a banger in the welterweight division between Joaquin Numanza Buckley versus Nursulton Black Ruziboyev. What a banger in the welterweight division that looked like 2 weeks ago. So, how interesting. Buckley really wanted to get on this card, and he got on the card. Good for him, man. He did not get an easy fight, but he got on the card. And St. Louis in his hometown, him and Charles Johnson, the only St. Louis fighters on the card. Let's see what happens here. Let's start talking about Joaquin Buckley. I don't think I need to say much about Buckley since I broke down a fight of his 2 months ago, and B, I think we know Joaquin by now. But I'll get to the chase. Buckley is 8-4 in the UFC. Since moving up to welterweight, he is 3-0, beating Alex Morono, Andre Filho, and Vicente Luque. Luque definitely his biggest win of his career so far, let alone in general. At welterweight, because I did get him in the top 15, and he kind of just ended Luque's career. So it's going to be interesting. Definitely a tough fight here against a very tall, tough opponent in Ribovics. But he's going to be in St. Louis and have the crowd behind him. He's going to be fired up. Let's see what he can do here. I'm intrigued. Buckley definitely going to be in a tough spot here. Because if he wins, wow, what a great win. If he loses, you kinda, like, I get you got your spot on the card, but you kinda just gave up your ranking. Well, you didn't give it up, you probably just fell down the rankings and lost your momentum. I don't know, it's interesting, but we know what we're getting with Buckley. He's gonna go out there, throw some power, see what happens. I'm intrigued. See what happens. Talk about his opponent, Nursulton Ribovics, moving down to welterweight when he's 6'5". Ribovics in the UFC is 2-0. His 2 wins are Bruno Ferreira and Cedricus Dumas. Yeah, he's looked pretty much flawless in the UFC so far. 2 quick first-round knockouts. And now he's gonna... This is his first real test, moving down to welterweight somehow, and fighting a guy like Buckley, who's gonna be a tough, definitely a step up from who he's been fighting. I'm intrigued. Has he ever fought at welterweight? I don't think he has. I'd be shocked if he has. And from what I'm seeing, no, he has fucking not. So, 175 he did fight at. Like, how... Oh no, he did fight at welterweight. Yeah, he won. How intriguing. So this ain't a new cut for him. But I doubt it's an easy one, because again, the dude's 6'5". So... I'm intrigued, man. If the cut doesn't kill him too much, then we're in for a really fun, interesting fight that I cannot fucking wait for. Let's see what happens. I'm intrigued. The betting odds for this fight have Buckley minus 150 to plus 120. Is that true still? Yeah, yeah. I looked at the odds earlier. I have to pick them. I think as simple as this. A, this ain't going past round 1. B, whoever lands first is gonna win. I don't really think I need to say it any more simpler than that. If Buckley lands first, he won. If Nursulton lands first, he won. Whoever lands that KO shot first is gonna win. This ain't gonna go past round 1, and if it did, I favor Buckley because he ain't cutting fucking 15 pounds to come fight down at welterweight. So, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I'm very interested in this fight, and I'm excited, so... Who am I going with? Good question. Like I think the pick'em, it's whoever lands first. Buckley is gonna be at a giant size disadvantage, being way shorter. But we'll see how he does here. Fuck it, I'm going Joaquin Buckley. I don't know why. I just feel like he can win this fight. I think he's going to be... Yeah, I think he's made, like, these are both 2 guys who's cut down from middleweight, but one guy is meant to be at this weight class, the other is not. So, but we'll see what happens. I'm going Joaquin Buckley to win this fight. I think he'll be able to land that shot before Nursulton. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't really care. I just want to see someone get knocked out. So, I'm going Joaquin Buckley by knockout in the first. I think if he lands that knockout, the crowd's going to fucking explode, which would be dope. So let's see it. I'm going Joaquin Buckley by knockout first. I won't be shocked if Nursulton wins. We'll see what happens. I'm interested to see how Nursulton looks on the scales tomorrow. I will not be shocked if he misses weight because, again, that's not an easy cut. We'll see. Give me Joaquin Buckley by knockout first. let's see what happens. Who's getting knocked out first? And now, time for the main event. Oh, God, this fight sucks. I don't want to talk about this fight too much because this is a pathetic main event. But again, this is the main event. This is just a post-limb, if we're being honest. A shitty heavyweight match to end the night between Derek, the Black Beast Lewis, versus Rodrigo del Comio or Nascimento. Do I really need to say much? Either Lewis gets the knockout or he loses a boring 5-round fight. Yeah, I don't need to say much. It's a Derek Lewis fight. We know what we're getting. Either a knockout or a boring fight. I'm picking Derek Lewis to win. I hope he knocks out Rodrigo because Rodrigo sucks. I don't even get the point of this. Why are you trying to build up Rodrigo Nascimento? It's Rodrigo Nascimento. He's like if this was Despaigne, it would make sense. Someone who you actually is good and you want to build up. Nascimento's trash. I don't get it. But give me Derek Lewis by knockout in the first. I hope it happens, because the second round one ends, I'm going to get my pillow and go to fuck to bed. Because it's a Derek Lewis fight, and we know he can't fight for more than 5 minutes. So, yeah. Give me Derek Lewis by knockout in the first. Let's all just pray. And this ain't a boring bullshit fight like Jousset or Spivak or many other Derek Lewis fights. So, yeah. Derek Lewis by knockout in the first. Simple as that. Boom. Those are my picks. To go over them one more time. Veronica Hardy by decision. Kevin Jousset, my lock of the night, by decision. Charles Johnson by decision. Billy Goff by decision. Tabatha Ricci by decision. Terrance McKinney by knockout in the first. Chase Hooper by submission in the second. Robelis Despaigne by knockout in the first. Alex Caceres by decision. Mateusz Rębecki by knockout in the second. Carlos Ulberg by decision. Joaquin Buckley by knockout in the first. And Derek Lewis by knockout in the first. Bang. I know a lot of decisions. Like, maybe one of these decision picks could change. Like maybe this or this. But I doubt I'll change those. I'm happy with my picks. Like, yes, a couple of them are pretty biased. Like McKinney, Chase, and Alex. But a couple of them are what I really think is going to happen. So, outside of those three, I really do, outside of those three, I really do think my picks will win, so we'll see what happens. This is a pretty good card. When the only bad fights on the card are, what? This fight, even that's not terrible. Like, the main event might be the worst fight on the card because it's the main event. If these two are swapped, it'd be like, okay, fine. I still don't get the point of this fight, because why are you building up him, or whatever. It's a fun card, it's a fun fight night in St. Louis, and at least it's not the Apex. So, I'm ready for a fun card. So, 13 fights, I broke down, 13 fights, I'll recap, hopefully, Sunday, 1 p.m. EST. I said hopefully to having 13 fights, not me breaking it down, or recapping it, I mean. I'll try and get the recap out on time, I make no promises, but I'll try. If it's not 1 p.m., it'll be out sometime on Sunday, the usual. So, but yeah, unless I'm forgetting to say something, I hope you enjoyed the video. You'll hear from me again Sunday for a recap of this card. And unless I'm forgetting to say something, after an hour and a half uncut, like very little breaks in between, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs go by the end of 2024. And as always, RX out. Good vibes only and always.